Before ideas turned into action, something unseen was already shaping events. Quiet, structural, economic. The French Revolution did not begin with philosophy. It began with hunger, debt, and a financial system that had already collapsed.
Versailles glittered like eternity itself. But beneath the gold, the French state was already bankrupt.
The guillotine was not forged in iron. It was forged in ledgers filled with red ink. Taxes were not collected by the state, but sold to private men who squeezed the countryside dry.
Even salt, the simplest necessity, was taxed beyond reach.
Those with the most paid the least. Privilege was the true currency of France. For the working poor, bread was not food. It was survival itself.
When the harvests failed, hunger spread faster than ideas.
As grain grew scarce, prices doubled. Wages did not.
For many families, the day began knowing hunger would end it.
Bread riots erupted long before revolutionaries raised flags.
When hunger meets force, legitimacy begins to crack. While Paris starved, Versailles dined. By the 1780s, debt service consumed more than half of royal revenue. The crown borrowed not to grow, but to survive another day. Even the victory in America came at the cost of financial ruin at home. By 1788, the French state could no longer borrow on reasonable terms. Credit had died. When soldiers stop being paid, loyalty becomes fragile. For the first time in more than a century, the king admitted he could not rule alone. 90% of France sat in one estate, while the power sat elsewhere. The crisis was no longer about taxes. It was about who France belonged to. The system was designed to stall. Two estates could silence the whole nation. When the doors closed, obedience closed with them. Exiled from power, they found it elsewhere. In a borrowed room, a whole new nation was declared. Power did not fall in a single blow. It slipped away. When word reached Paris, fear traveled faster than truth. The crown answered uncertainly with soldiers. That if soldiers were coming, Paris would not wait defenseless.
It was like a prison, a warning carved in stone. By morning, France would awaken to a new reality.
The morning of July 14th did not begin with speeches. It began with movement.
When the first shots rang out, there was no turning back.
The Bastille did not fall because it was weak. It fell because belief had shifted.
With the fall of the Bastille, the illusion of royal control collapsed.
The Bastille was gone, and with it, the old world.
The fortress had fallen, but no one yet knew what would rise in its place.
With the Bastille gone, royal authority did not retreat. It vanished.
Revolutions can shatter symbols in a day. Economies take longer to obey. The fall of one fortress echoed across an entire nation.
Revolutions can shatter symbols in a day. Economies take longer to obey.
The people had seized power. What they inherited was an empty treasury and a mountain of debt.
Seizing power was easier than learning how to pay for it.
Armies, courts, and cities cannot run on ideals alone.
Even revolutions fall when those who defend them go unpaid.
France was poor in cash, but rich in land, especially land owned by the church.
It sounded like genius. Turn land into money, and crisis into confidence.
In 1790, France chose paper over pain. The assignat was born.
For a moment, belief returned. Paper moved where coins had vanished.
Soldiers were paid. Officials returned to work. The revolution breathed again. The notes were backed by land. Solid, visible, reassuring.
The assignat worked, just enough to make restraint impossible.
Once printing solved one crisis, it became the answer to every crisis. At first, inflation whispered. Few noticed.
I noticed.
Wages remained the same. Everything else did not.
Every warning sounded like pessimism. Every caution looked like betrayal.
Come on, stand, Joe.
Money still circulated, but trust did not.
Now at this point, inflation no longer whispered. It shouted.
And when money fails, people hoard reality.
When trust disappears, markets do not vanish. They hide.
When money becomes meaningless, everything else soon follows.
When trust failed, the state reached for force.
Prices were frozen by law, not by reality.
What money could no longer persuade, fear now enforced.
Markets did not just disappear, they escaped.
Economic failure had become a crime, and fear became the law.
When money failed, the blade took its place.
Saving food, refusing paper, questioning prices, these were now creams.
By 1794, paper flooded France, and value drowned beneath it.
In the end, survival ignored ideology. It returned to basics.
The revolution no longer inspired belief. It demanded obedience.
Terror did not end in victory. It ended in exhaustion. Liberty and equality survived as words. Faith in them did not. One last paper promise replaced another. It failed even faster.
By 1795, the assignat was no longer money. It was waste.
France had destroyed a monarchy. It had not built stability.
France had overthrown kings. What remained was a vacuum.
In exhaustion, the nation turned not to ideals, but to order. Napoleon understood what revolutionaries had ignored. Money must be trusted before power can last.
With the Bank of France, trust returned, not through force, but through discipline. The French Revolution was over, but its financial warning is not.